This review has been made possible by Toyota of Naperville. As you know, Toyota has tons of brand new Toyotas available for purchase. But did you know that they also have a remarkable selection of used cars? Head on over to toyotaofnaperville.com and look through hundreds of used cars for sale right now.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today on this rainy and foggy morning, I am driving a 2017 Mazda Cx-3. Up front is a 2.0 liter inline 4, and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission.
This video is sponsored by CarMarshal.com. If you'd like to support the channel, click the link down in the description below. CarMarshal.com advertises for over 100,000 vehicles across the US.
But let's get back to that 2.0 liter inline 4. Well, Mazda really only makes 3 engines at the moment. The 2.0 liter Skyactiv inline 4, which is in this car, the 2.5 liter Skyactiv that you'll find in like the Cx-5, higher trim level Mazda 3s, Mazda 6s, as well as you can get a turbocharged version of that motor, and then they make a diesel motor for the new Cx-5. But this is really the same motor you'll find in the new Mazda Miata. This is essentially a Miata motor. You can also find it in the lower trim levels of the Mazda 3 and things like that. It's not a bad motor. Honestly, it offers a decent amount of power for what it is, hovering just below 150 horsepower. And honestly, in a little vehicle like this, that's really all you need. As rain comes in, it pulls. The little guy pulls. Like, honestly, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's a fun little spunky car. Spunky, that is the word. Spunky is the word that I would describe this car with. It's not fast. It's not agile. It's not... Okay, actually, hold on. Okay. It's actually pretty agile. Okay. It's a spunky little car. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic transmission. This is very bread and butter for Mazda. I don't know any of Mazda's vehicles that don't come with an offered 6-speed automatic. If it's not manual, odds are it's a 6-speed auto. And I like the fact that it is a 6-speed automatic and not a CVT. If you don't know, a CVT means continuously variable transmission. And so there's no real gears in it, and so it feels kind of weird. It doesn't feel normal. This is a tried and true 6-speed automatic, and I really, really like that. It feels nice, it shifts right, and I can put the transmission into a sport mode, so kind of hold on to gears a little bit longer, give me a little bit better acceleration for the highway, things like that. Last but not least, but I think the most important part of the drivetrain of the Cx-3 is the fact that it is all-wheel drive. This is where I really separate the boys from the men in my mind when it comes to these small, compact SUVs. Because I think if you're going to have the extra ride height, you should have all-wheel drive. Now, there is a front-wheel drive version of the Cx-3. You can get the Cx-3 in front-wheel drive only, but this is the all-wheel drive model, and I really, really like that. I mean, just look at the weather today. It's January in Chicago, and it's 49 degrees. It's essentially 50 degrees, rainy and foggy. You got to be ready for anything when you live around here. Last week, it snowed a bunch. Now, it's rainy and foggy. We're in England now. We're in Seattle now. And then probably next week we'll be in Alaska. And then the week after that we'll be in Florida. It's the weather here is insane. And so you got to have a car that can keep up with that. This most certainly is. All-wheel drive is really great. Mazda actually does a really nice job with their all-wheel drive system. My family personally owns a 2018 Mazda Cx-5 with the all-wheel drive system, and let me tell you, driving that in the snow is like driving with cheat codes. I mean, really, it's so hard to get that car to lose traction. It's genuinely a challenge. And so I really like the fact that it is all-wheel drive. Now we'll talk about the interior, and then we'll get back to the relatively small size of this car. So in front of me, I have one main gauge that is my speedometer right in the middle. Take it or leave it, it's all right. But on the left is my tachometer, and my issue with this is that the tachometer is round and it's put into a square hole. Now, if anyone has played that blocks game when they were a kid, they know that that's not right. The tachometer is now so small because it has to fit inside of a rectangle that it kind of annoys me. Why don't you just make it a correct size that would be easier to read. It's a screen anyway. You can change it to be whatever you want. Why make it a circle? I don't know. But then on the right, I do my outside temperature, fuel range, and my fuel bar as well. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my skip controls, volume up and down, info. So I can't actually change that right-hand screen to tell me my MPG, miles per hour, current MPG, which is 38 miles to the gallon right now. Average is 30.6. Then we're back to the range. Then on the right of the steering wheel, I just have my cruise control options. This is a little bit more loaded of a CX-3. It does have a lot of nice features like that all-wheel drive I mentioned, but a lot more than just the all-wheel drive, and we'll talk about that as we talk through the interior. To the left of me, I just have a vent, and then on the door, I have my window switches, power mirrors, and power locking. In the center, I do have the infotainment screen. This is a slightly different screen than comes in the CX-5. I'm not a big fan of this, and here's why. I'm just not a fan of Mazda's older actually. They've revamped it in 2019. But before 2019, the infotainment systems in these cars are just bad. They're just straight up bad. They now offer Apple CarPlay, and I believe you can get these 17s retrofitted with Apple CarPlay, but the dealer wants $500 for that. So pick your poison. But these old infotainment systems, I just don't think are that good. Actual quality, they're very easy to use, very easy to see, and it doesn't require a master's degree in technology in order to use it. I really like that part. However, I really dislike the navigation. I think the navigation is very slow. It doesn't really tell you when things are coming up, and it's very clunky. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of R&D put into it. And then I also don't like the media. It's just weird and clunky. When you get into the car, it doesn't let you change the song or input source for like almost a minute. And so you're just kind of stuck to listening whatever radio station someone had on before you. So it has great colors. I like it. It's very bold. It's easy to use. I just think the actual software could use an update. And they have updated it since, so I can't knock it too hard. If you buy a 2020 CX-3, you'll have a lot better of an experience. Down below that, we do have our hazard switch and another vent, which is finished in this red. There's these red accents all over the interior, which I kind of don't see a point of. Then I do have my climate controls. These are very obviously pulled out of like a Yaris or a Mazda 2, things like that. Then I do have a CD player, my USB inputs, 12-volt outlet, and then we come down to the shifter. The shifter's pretty much the same as you'll find in all other Mazdas. It is what it is. I like it a lot. It's not to say it isn't good. I actually genuinely like it. It's just you can find it in literally every single Mazda. And down below that, that is where our sport button comes in. So you can flick it up into sport. Basically, it'll hold on to your shifts a little bit longer. And it'll hold on to gears so you can get, you'll actually redline the car, which is good for passing, which is good for harsh acceleration, but not needed in the rest of everyday life. Then we come down to the actual controller for the center screen, the center control stick. I don't know what to call these. Selector dial. I think it's one of the best, definitely for the money in this price range. This is the best selector dial you can get. It has great tactile feedback. You can move it multiple ways. It's very satisfying when you click it, and I can do stuff without looking, and it clicks, it pushes it. It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. And that is also where the volume knob is. I have grown accustomed to having a volume knob down below, and I have to say I really like it because that's where I naturally rest my hand. It makes everything very easy. Now, the seats are nice and comfortable. They are finished in leather. They have this nice little red stripe in the middle, but they are heated. I think I might have breezed over that on accident. I do have heated seats for both the front driver and passenger, which I'm pleasantly enjoying today. Very, very nice feature. And again, one of the features that's not found in all CX-3s, but this particular one has it. Speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2017 Mazda CX-3. I don't even get like anything back here. I don't even get cup holders. Do I have a center console? No center console. Headroom, I guess, is okay. Headroom, I'm like 5'11". I got less than an inch before my head hits the ceiling. It's very dreary back here. This is not a good back seat. This is not something you want to drive a lot of people around in. This is not something... It has back seats. If you all want to jump in here, go to 7-Eleven, go to Los Tapitos Burritos, whatever you want to do, you can jump in here and do this. You can carry 4 people, really actually a 5th person if you really want. You can do that. That's something you can do. But if Jurassic Park taught us anything, it's, should you? Maybe not. Maybe not. Now we got to talk about the looks. I think this is by far Mazda's ugliest vehicle that they currently produce because the 2020s look pretty much identical. And the reason for that, if you're wondering why is it so small, why is it so weird, it really shouldn't be called the Mazda Cx-3. It should really be called the Cx-2. The reason I say that is because it shares a platform with the Mazda 2, which we don't get here. We don't actually get the Mazda 2 here. But what we do get is the Mazda 2 with a different badge, the Toyota Yaris. This is essentially, the Cx-3 is a lifted Toyota Yaris, which is really just a Mazda 2, if that makes sense. This is the same platform as a Mazda 2. This is the same platform as a Toyota Yaris. Toyota has licensed the platform off of Mazda, and actually when you drive a Yaris, the interior is identical to this. I mean identical, like legitimately identical. I will show video of a 2020 Toyota Yaris hatch. You'll struggle to find differences. But overall, while I do think this is ugly, it's not a bad vehicle. Like I said, the features of this car are absolutely great. Heated seats, all-wheel drive. You know, the infotainment system, I complain about it, but it's really just out of love. If you guys can't tell, I'm a huge Mazda fan. I love Mazdas. I've owned 3 RX-7s. You know, I'll live and die by the Mazda name, but I have to be honest, I have to give my unbiased opinion with this car, and so yes, the infotainment system is absolute garbage, and I think this looks ugly. I think this is literally the ugliest car that Mazda makes. But really, bang for your buck, this thing's doing pretty well. If you live in the city, if you have to commute to the city, this is a great car, and this is something you should definitely look into. Because the small size makes it nice for the city, or nice for a college student, or nice for someone who's just kind of starting out in life. I would not get a Cx-3 if you have 2 kids. I would not get a Cx-3 if you have more than 2 kids. I would not get a Cx-3 if you know that you go out with your friends all the time. If you do that, get a Cx-5. The Cx-5 is just worlds more comfortable and just worlds nicer than this. A first car, a commuter car, a college car. So my closing thoughts with this Cx-3 is I absolutely love Mazda. I absolutely love Mazda. They're my favorite car brand. I have a Mazda on my shirt. This is my old RX-7 I used to own. Rest in peace. Rust in peace, really. It rusted through. It was 35 years old. I love Mazda. I love it. They're sort of the underdog. They're not as popular as all the other auto manufacturers. They're the sort of, you know, punching upwards sort of vehicles where they're really nice now. They're really, really nice. They split off from Ford in 2015. They're no longer owned by Ford, and so they've been doing their own thing. They've been really pushing luxury, and they're coming out with diesels, and Miatas are the best car you could buy if you want to get into spirited driving. The most fun you can have under the speed limit is a Mazda Miata. And so I love Mazda so much that I have to admit their faults. If you truly, truly love something, you have to acknowledge its faults, but love them anyway. I love Mazda. I love Mazda. There's nothing that feels like a Mazda. This is the weak link in the chain. This is a cash grab car. The small SUV segment, everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. And so Mazda needed something to compete in that category. And here's where we are. I think this is the low point of Mazda's lineup currently. No one is perfect. And Mazda's certainly not perfect. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Toyota Naperville for letting me take out their 2017 Mazda Cx-3. They have tons and tons of cars on the lot. They have so many different cars that literally I can't even get to filming all the cool ones. There's so many cars on their lot that I want to drive, but I can't do the time. And so go check them out on their website. It is up on the screen. if Mazdas are not your thing, if Toyotas are not your thing, definitely still go give them a look. They got Jeeps, they have Volkswagens, I've done Land Rovers, Range Rovers, BMWs, so many different car manufacturers through Toyota Naperville. They're absolutely awesome, and I was so excited when this popped up. I've never done a CX-3, and I'm glad that I finally got the opportunity to. And so thank you so much to Toyota of Naperville for allowing me to do this. Again, info's up on the screen. They are absolutely awesome. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really like to. Take care, guys.
Aside from my soul.